Baklava. Today I'm revealing the secrets of how to make Michael's famous baklava. Let's jump right in. Now, to make Michael's secret recipe baklava, you're going to need the following. 1 pound of walnut halves and pieces, which is about 4 cups, 1 tablespoon plus 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 pound of phyllo dough, which is that 1 container of it, 1/2 pound or 2 sticks of butter, and you're going to need more than that. And for the syrup, you're going to need 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of water, and 1.5 cups of honey. The first thing I do when I'm about to make my baklava is I put everything on the counter. Then I take the cups of walnuts, and here I'm making a double recipe, and I put them into a food processor. After that's done, I'll grind them up a little bit, make them, a decent size, and then I'll put them aside. Then I'll butter the pans I'm going to use. Again, I'm using a double recipe, and I'll make the bottoms completely coated, including on the sides. While I'm melting the butter to butter the pans, I'll take the phyllo dough out of the container and unwrap it. Then I'll put cellophane wrap over it and a damp cloth. This is so important to keep the phyllo dough moist, but I'm going to touch back on this in just a second. The next step is to take 1 piece of phyllo dough at a time and place it on the buttered pan and then butter that piece. So 1 at a time, 1, 2, 3, and up to 8. So 8 layers of phyllo dough, all separately buttered. Now remember, each time you do it, you want to cover over the phyllo dough with that damp cloth and cellophane wrap to make sure it stays moist. The problem is if you don't, after the second or third piece of phyllo dough, you'll notice the ones that have been sitting waiting to be put on the sheet are now kind of cracking and dry. So it's really important to keep them hydrated and moist until you're ready to go and put them on the tray. After 8 layers of phyllo dough, I'll add 1/3 of the nut mixture, so that's good, and then I'll add 2 more layers of phyllo dough. Butter each one, and then put another 1/3. Do it again, 2 more layers, and then another 1/3 of that nut and cinnamon mixture. After I've set the last of the nut mixture getting ready to go, I start adding on the layers of phyllo, just continue one after another, buttering them all until I'm done, and there's no more left in the package. Then comes the difficult part, which is cutting them in to the pieces that they're going to be when you take them out of the pan. Now this can be a little tough because you'll notice the phyllo dough will tend to move around a little bit. It can be tough to kind of hold it down, so you'll see I'm kind of like holding it down and cutting at the same time, moving my fingers across. So make sure you're kind of paying attention, looking at the phyllo dough, not pushing down too hard, not too soft. It's kind of a delicate job, but once you master it, it's no problem. So go ahead, cut them into diamond shapes, and you'll get a lot of them. Now once it's all cut and ready to go, I'll put the entire thing into the oven at 325 degrees for 1 hour. At this point, I'm going to start making the syrup that I'm going to place inside of it. To make the syrup so easy, you just have to combine the first ingredients, bring them to a boil, and then set them to a side. Now I would do this as soon as you put the baklava into the oven, so it has a little bit to cool. So it's so important that it cools just a little bit so that you can pour it in there without it making a big mess. Now once the baklava is done, take it out, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then pour the syrup on top. Pour it all in, and then what I'll do is I'll move the pan up and down and side to side to make sure the honey syrup kind of seeps in everywhere. After the syrup has soaked in, give it about 6 to 8 hours, so overnight, uncovered, and then you're set to go with Michael's secret baklava. Now I'd love to know if you give this a try, if you have a different recipe. Tell me in the comments. I want to hear all about it. I want to see pictures. I want to see those pictures if you give it a try. Thanks for being a part of it with me. Until next time, have a magical day.